This week in the Gospel, Jesus continues a series of difficult interactions with the Scribes and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the religious leaders of his day. You remember from the last several weeks, these guys are coming at Jesus, they're asking him questions, they're trying to trip him up, and Jesus over and over and over again is able to give an answer that he doesn't quite stumble in the way that they're hoping, right? And so now this time, Jesus kind of goes on the offensive. But notice what he does when he points out all this laundry list of bad and superficial things that the Pharisees do. They like, public praise, and they like to look important. They wear fancy garbs that they look better than everyone else, and all that sort of stuff. Jesus starts his critique with, we still have to obey them and respect them and honor them because they sit in the chair of Moses. They have this position of authority, of religious leadership. And so there's a challenge there for all of us, parents and kids, for all of us. When an authority figure in our lives does something that we disagree with or we don't like or is flat out wrong, we cannot use that as an excuse to just throw away all of their authority. Because Jesus is telling these people, in the face of religious leadership that is trying to have him killed, he is telling people, don't do what they do, but listen to their teaching because they have authority. All right, and so the question for us, when your boss is having a bad day, kids, when your parents are having a bad day, your teacher's having a bad day, your coach is having a bad day, and maybe they are mean to you, maybe they say something that is hurtful and that they shouldn't have said, or they handle something in a way they shouldn't have said it. We still have to respect that position of authority, even while we can recognize that thing that they did, that's not good, right? So when your parents are mean to you because they're tired and they've had a rough day, you can't just throw out their authority. You still have to listen to them. You still have to do what they tell you to do, right? We still have to follow the authority figures in our lives. And then Jesus points out how is authority supposed to be used at the end of this gospel passage. He says, whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Right? In the business world or the adult world, we call this servant leadership, right? That's the leadership that Jesus is calling us to. Not to the looking fancy and wearing the fancy garb and having the fancy titles and all this sort of stuff that the Pharisees were frankly obsessed with, right? He calls us to lead other people by serving them, by being willing to serve their needs and put them, in some senses, above ourselves, right? That's the leadership that Jesus calls us to. That's the leadership that the people in positions of authority should aspire to, but even when they fall short, we still have to respect that position of authority because God values it.